Hey guys, it's Miss Madera. My sixth graders who are watching this is going to be a quick, maybe Diet Coke version of a lesson I would do in class. Normally in class, I would walk around the room and ask you guys about what we think belongs in our closed notes. But this is a great video to go back and look at if you're having trouble adding and subtracting decimals. So let's get started. I'm going to say, for the whole year, I promise you, it'll be very annoying, but eventually you will do it too. When adding and subtracting, magnets matter. So when I talk about decimals, those are the magnets. So when adding and subtracting decimals, it is important to estimate your answer. Because think about it. If you are adding 2.71 and 3.99, if I were to round both these numbers to the nearest whole number, this is closest to 3, and this I rounded up to 4. So 3 plus 4 is 7. If I did estimate and it wasn't even close to the number 7, I need to go back and check my work. So when actually adding and subtracting decimals, I need to line up the decimal point. Those are the magnets. So Miss Madera is going to go like this. When adding and subtracting, magnets matter. So you have to line up first. No matter what, get those magnets lined up together. So like here, they're kind of in a line. So that way when you have your answer, you have your magnets, they're all lined up. So number 3, you're going to write zeros to make up, it says to make the columns even. So what they mean by that is if you have a number that's like 4.29, and then you're adding the number plus 6. It's a whole number, but there's still a decimal, and I want to annex zeros. So now, oh, that looks much easier to add up. I got numbers in all 3 of my columns. So that's what that means. To add those zeros in that are actually already there, it means to annex the zeros. That is a higher level word. If you could say, Miss Madera, I'm going to add the zeros, great. If you say, I can annex the zeros, you're way ahead of the game. So number 4, you need to write the decimal point in the sum or the difference. Now sum, that's if you're adding, difference if you are subtracting. And if you guys for any reason need to pause the video and jot these down in your notes so they match mine perfectly, you can do that. So after you lined up your magnets, you wrote the decimal point down in the answer, then you just go ahead and add and subtract like you normally would. Then the very last thing is you're going to compare your answer with your estimate, if you did. I estimated that my answer up here should have been close to 7. So when I did my work, if my answer is close to 7, I'm on the right track. And here is the actual steps. If you're ever unsure, just go back in your notes. Line up the decimals because magnets matter. Only for adding and subtracting decimals. When we're multiplying and dividing, that's going to be a whole nother system. But when adding and subtracting, magnets matter. You're going to fill in the zeros. Another way to say that is to annex the zeros. Move the decimal point to the answer. Make sure that, same kind of thing, your magnets are mattering. And then you just add or subtract. So let's go ahead and do one problem together. I have 3.4. Before I even get started, there's my magnet, my decimal. And then I fill in the numbers around it. So the 2 was here, 7 was there, and the 6. Oh, this looks a little uneven. I think what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to annex a 0. Now right now I'm using pencil because I want to point out that even though we don't see that 0 actually already exists and is there. So that's where it's coming from. All right. I have it all set up. I annexed my 0. My magnets are lined up. I'm going to put my last magnet in the answer because it has to line up. 0 plus 6 is 6. 4 plus 7 is 11. Carry the 1. 1 plus 3 is 4. Plus 2 is 6. There's my answer, 6.16. All right. You are ready to move on and practice with a partner.